Okay, so Professor Dr. Faridah Hj Hassan, President of World Academy of Islamic Management, and also the founder of iHalal Management and Science, which is iHALALMAS from Universiti Teknologi MARA. And of course, she was the director of Institute Business Excellence of UITM, heading the research consultancy. And she, of course, has got the fact that from the education point of view, has got many other positions that she holds as a board of director and also as part of the panel, investment panel advisor for PMB, the public listed company, and also many other trust fund. So, I mean, basically person who is highly capable to handle issues of what she has put up today, the halal supply chain sustainability and operations framework, something that is very much, I think, at the heart of the halal itself is the supply chain and the operation framework. So over to you, Professor Dr. Faridah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nasraitul. Can you see my slide?
Yes, thank you.
Alhamdulillah. First of all, I think Dr. Billy Tang, he disappeared. I wanted to actually compliment his presentation. I was really amazed. And oh, you're there, good. And seriously,
I'm around.
Yeah.
I didn't disappear.
Yeah, and seriously, we hope we can visit your forest city in Subanjaya, and
Yes.
And also, but I wouldn't dare to try your tilapia ice cream because I could sense that it is fishy. So I wouldn't want ice cream with a fishy taste, but yet to discover. Anyway, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Dr. Nasraitul, for introducing me. And yes, today I'll be presenting on halal supply chain sustainability and also highlighting on the operations network that's been developed by my team. These are my co-researchers, Kamaru, Rifan, and Adila. And normally in different conferences, I always like to share the latest that my team of researchers discover, and I hope it does give benefit or give a takeaway to whoever the listeners are. So this is a presentation outline, just a normal one, yeah, with a LR, literature review, and also discussion analysis, and one part of SWOT analysis or TOS that you can take away for those who are interested to extend this research. So a little bit on the what do you call that, definition, which I do not want to go through very detailed. We are talking about halal, which is permissible in the Islamic lifestyle, and most so Dr. Danny mentioned about Dr. Billy mentioned about food, and a lot of the everyday life we are handling about the food consumption. So we are not talking only about Muslim, but we are talking about the ummah, any human mankind, which is related to consuming a lot of food around the world. Now we talk about the concept that actually transcended from the religious tenets, and it permeated various business domains. Now that's where it started to become a problem or issues, because as we know, like what just quoting what Dr. Billy mentioned, a lot of our food are actually highly processed, and when it is highly processed, it becomes so sophisticated that the consumers themselves do not know what are the ingredients, what are the process that can be contaminated. Okay, not contaminated by the ingredient, but also contaminated by our actions. So that's the worry that I'm bringing it to you today under the halal supply chain. So back to the food just now, we are looking into the aspects of hygiene, the GMP, the sustainable production, that it will last forever as far as possible, environmental concern like ESG, like Dr. Billy was highlighting, food safety right now, food security right now, and most importantly, quality food that everyone can consume. All right, we have about 2 billion Muslim population that we have to take care of, and another, I would say, 6 billion, almost 6 billion ummah, or I say to that get the total population of the world, almost 8 billion altogether. Yeah, so we are not only taking care of the Muslims over here when it comes to food item. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So when we talk about sustainability, just a minute, let me push some of my blocking, what do you call this? Yeah, I can't. But anyway, when we talk about sustainability, we are looking into focusing, those people like those who are poor, who are hungry, and then we are looking into the health and climate changes that brings in the shift towards sustainable food system, which is very pertinent and becoming very important right now, as compared to our forefathers who always has fresh food on the table. So we look into the scholars that stresses on the links among halal food and sustainability, innovation and technology. And I'm sure a lot of us are very familiar right now with a traceability system. Okay, traceability helps in looking into the ethics and also into the integrity of the processing halal supply chain. So we look into the production, which can be an effective vehicle to promote SDG in farming and agriculture. And I'm glad Dr. Billy highlighted on the Sharia compliance just now in his business. And because we are also concerned about the environmental standards that go hand in hand with meeting of other sets of production standards as a requirement. So the halal relation with sustainable development goals looks into, sorry, I think I'm repeating that. The next one, okay. The SDG that we are familiar with, there are 17, but as far as my paper is concerned, my research is concerned, we are looking into number 9, the infrastructure, number 12, the responsibility of the consumption and production, and finally 17 on the partnership for the goals, because we cannot be doing this business alone. You need along the halal supply chain many parties to be ethical about doing the business. So this is the world population, Muslim population, as most of you are aware. There are almost 2 billion resides over here, but they're all scattered from east to west, right? And we look into the consumer opportunity under GIE, Global Islamic Economy. Halal food is the major contributor compared to the others, all right? And I think Dr. Zad will be highlighting on the modest fashion afterwards. So during the COVID times pandemic, modest fashion did not go wrong. People still buy because they couldn't travel. They look into other opportunities of business, and media and recreation became the third one. So, but right now in 2024, Muslim-friendly travel and halal or Islamic tourism is picking up very well. Okay, let's move on. So these are the halal market importer and exporter, and you can see the focus in millions of USD everywhere over here. You can take this, what do you call that, slide for you to explore if you are interested to do business worldwide. And when we talk about the halal supply chain management, we are also focusing on the activities such as procurement, the movement, the storage, and the handling of products through the organization. And it must be accordance with general principles of Sharia law. It so happened, Timan, my first halal supply chain student from UITM, did a book and a lot of papers published on this. I think you should refer to him if you need to know more about what has been discovered in the studies. Okay, let me just move a little bit of this slide. Okay, so you can see more of it now. And other than that, okay, the halal supply chain, there are areas that needs to be focused. My slide slightly, okay, I have to arrange that. Okay, in terms of procurement, you're looking into how to protect the integrity along the supply chain. In terms of manufacturing, you're looking into the ingredients. In terms of the distribution, we also look into the packaging and halal containers. Do you all still remember about the meat cartel problem issue right before pandemic? That's where it goes wrong. Ethics as well as integrity plays a big concern over here. It was really a halal Jakim certified when it was being, I would say, produced or manufactured or processed. But as it goes along the line, the packaging and distributors, there was some I would say mismanagement. That's where the halal packaging and halal containers plays a role over here, because they change and repack and also redistribute it. And finally, under the logistic, the movement and coordination of halal supply and also demand in the formation of time and place utility is important, because you need to deliver at the right time and also at the right place. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Here we look at the activities. So in details, you can see, I'm just going to mention a few. Yeah, you can read all this. When it comes to procurement, you touch base on the selection, labeling, and relationship, logistic on segregation. And then if we look more into the manufacturing, we are looking into commitment. And this is where I did mention in my first meeting, or I would say as a panelist, yeah, Dr. Nasadaito, about commitment and trust, because trust is very important amongst the parties involved. Then we go into certification, we look into the compliance, and finally under distribution, we look into the packaging as well as the containers involved. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so over here, you can see the management itself from farm to fork principle, or some use as farm to finger, or whatever they want to, and synonym with it. So we look from the study. I think Dr. Billy would understand this, or would be practicing this very much. The process from the range to abattoir to the certification, packaging, freezing to lab test, and then if they are going for international waters or international marketing, the SAMAK container is needed. The port as well as a few others over here would be just, I need to move my slides left and right, sorry. Other than that, yeah, the custom quarantine, the importer, and finally to the restaurants and to the hotels. And then next, we are looking into the framework itself. Okay, the concept model of halal supply halal supply chain management would starts from the inbound to the production phases until outbound. Okay, so these are all the supply of goods from the farm to fork. Now, other than that, we are looking into the security, the Taliban, as well as transparency. So what is most important over here is to look like the specialized institution that is affiliated with the OIC. All right, and we are looking into the safety of halal food and development, like from genes to fork, like what the DNA mentioned by Dr. Billy just now. That is very important, okay? And it also looks into the linkages between the sustainable practices, and you have to look into the Taliban code of practice, okay? That it is healthy, is wholesome, is hygienic, and is safe and secure to eat, yeah, to consume. And of late, we are looking into blockchain technology. In Malaysia, Dr. Nasadaito, this morning we have an MDEC meeting on how they can play a bigger role under the blockchain technology. So I'm happy on that, because when MDEC comes into play, then we are more serious with how we handle our digitalization. So as you can see over here, until 2026, the food market size is growing up to 9.33 billion. Okay, and you can see that the players are fragmented, but there is 100% growth that will originate from US, and they are the key drivers. Okay, a symbol of healthy food, because they campaign on this a lot, and so we are happy that they're taking a big part in terms of campaigning on the food security. Even in Latin America, they do research until 2027 on halal food and beverage market. And you can read this, as you know, for the Muslims, Brazil is the biggest, I would say, exporter of halal poultry. So that's why they become very important in the market, yeah, in the global market. So South America, halal food and beverages, market size and share analysis, they have forecasted until 2028. All right, and the major players at the moment are Nestle, Maricota, and a few others here. So you can see that the growth rate is about 3.1% annually. And these are the annual turnover in Europe, for example, in France. But what I wanted to highlight over here, which is the current concern in the technology operation, is the halal blockchain. Everybody is claiming that they're into blockchain, but they actually do not understand what it takes to be in the blockchain industry and business, because the traceability of each item from the farm till the retail store is very important to detect who is the culprit if they make any mistakes in the distribution. Okay. Now, other things that I would like to share over here. Okay, I can skip this on how we collect the data, but some of the studies made would be like in Malaysia, the factors affecting sustainability of halal product performance. And in other countries, we have over here like logistic in non-Muslim dominant environment, a process of re-engineering. This was in Germany. And other than that, we have one in India, examining the link between halal supply chain and management and sustainability. Okay, the rest of it you can take a look and also refer to the study if you want to know more. This one is in Indonesia on the MSME, which is on micro, small, and medium enterprise. And as you know, Indonesia is very aggressive right now in looking into the halal activities. Okay, it becomes a national agenda. So this is again in Malaysia on the designing of halal supply chain. In UK itself, you're looking into the greater understanding, because there's a lot of illegal activities in the UK halal sheep sector, yeah, supply chain. And these are critical success factors. And other than that would be issues and challenges. And yeah, the rest of it are in Malaysia. So I will just share with you on the SWOT and TOS analysis, where if you want to look at it, how it's being, how do I say, extracted, you can take this slide and study it. But in recommendation and conclusion out of the TOS analysis, what we found is that number one, there are strategies forward in halal supply chain that needs to be emphasized. Secondly, you must be responsible and ethical in knowing the outlets that between the buyer and supplier at every point. Number three, you look into the consistent support of financial institution. Number four, you must have knowledgeable human capital, especially in Sharia compliance. Number five, look into the formulation and execution of halal food security. Number seven would be the blockchain to promote traceability and transparency. And finally, number six would look into the verification process. So right now we have all the QR code playing very actively, whether in Malaysia, Thailand, China, you know, importantly. And I think this is the way forward, and we cannot, you know, be ousted in this area, because you need to be in the know-how in using the application. So the strategies forward would be, number one, sustaining halal food security ecosystem that necessitate a harmonious and collaborative effort by relevant stakeholders. I felt bad for Billy, because he did mention that he did not get the support in Malaysia. But please remember, the business is a global business, so we can get some other support from other parts of the world. And I'm glad Dr. Ziad is here today. Brunei may even look into this, because Brunei is looking into the Borneo link right now. That is one way, you know, where the Borneo link, whether by road or by means of, you know, shipping, can really expedite that part of the area, yeah, in terms of halal sustainability and also supply chain. Now, in terms of other areas like being ethical about it, you have to be sustain halal integrity, adhering and conforming to the halal practice and standards. And in terms of knowledgeable human capital, we need to have more skilled and knowledgeable halal food and understanding of applications in the business. If possible, they are graduates in Sharia. And I know Dr. Zaid comes from the Center of Halal in Brunei from the university. So I'm sure they are producing more Sharia compliance graduates. And finally, traceability, we look into increasing of integrity. So as I've mentioned to you just now, QR code detect where it stops, where it, who is handling it. And I think that is very important in the current situation, as much as we are going into the global market. So we need to do the tracking. Finally, in the vast global market and food business, okay, we need to reduce waste. We have to emphasize on waste efficiency as a main strength, meaning we minimize a lot of wastage, okay? And such efforts may inhibit the existing trust issues and the lack of international halal certification bodies in the halal food business, because at the moment we are quite regional in certification bodies. Okay, but everybody are very territorial. But if we can have more incorporation between regions and continents of halal certification bodies, we can go very far. And the findings suggest that sustainable development goals are driven and rooted into the halal ecosystem. So with that, Dr. Nur Sadatul, I rest my case. I think that's all that I need to share for today. And I share with you also the references if any of the researchers would like to carry on with, postgrad studies from my paper. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Faridah. Well, that is an exhaustive amount of research that you have done. And, it is, as I say, it's a huge research coming from various aspects of the components of the ecosystem, right? As you
Right.
can see, it's from A to Z. So
Yeah.
if someone was to learn something from A to Z, it takes more than just what I call an element of knowing about the process alone. It's all about how do you look at the whole development of halal and to what extent it has brought into the real prosperity of that halal economy. So
Agree.
I believe a lot of people have benefited from the journey of developing their halal roadmap, be
Yeah.
it from the from the initial state of getting the halal certification, but somehow along the way there's always the meaning of greediness, and
True.
people start to change the real purpose of that halal certification because they probably have got wrong partners, and they have got now a different angle of where they believe they
Yeah.
make use of the halal for a different set of objectives. So somehow there is a derailment to the true sense of what halal is all about. So I think that we will bring about later on in our discussion
Yep.
something to dwell with. But before that, before we bring to that panel discussion, I'll bring the last speaker, and the last speaker has been waiting patiently. All right, from hearing from Dr. Billy, from